Thank you very much. And look, today we are sending a loud message about this bill that the Senate has just passed. And it's a message that says that this tax plan turns the clock back on our city and rolls back progress for America. This is a paper-thin attempt to target New York City. It is fiscally stupid and it's morally wrong. It's a giveaway to the very top nationwide at the expense of all of us here at home. Mar-a-Lago wins and the rest of us lose. Now, as comptroller, I watch the money. And I will tell you this. Here's the facts. 700,000 New Yorkers will see a tax increase. Almost 400,000 of those New Yorkers make less than 100,000 a year. More than twice as many New York taxpayers would face higher taxes than those nationally. 17.3% in New York versus 7.3% across the nation. The top 1% of this country would see an average tax cut of over $100,000 a year. For those of you who own a private jet, this bill is for you. If you own a golf course, you get a break. But if you are one of the 92,000 New York City public school teachers buying supplies for your classroom, you will no longer be able to deduct those expenses. This tax cut comes for our children, the next generation. This must be stopped. So Mayor de Blasio and Randy Weingarten are 100% right. We cannot give up. We have to double down. We have to make it clear to Congress. And then after that, we have to continue to organize in this city and state so that Democrats who act like Republicans, they gotta be talked to. I am tired of supporting people who then walk to the other side of the aisle. That has to stop. We need to double down and say to people in the Democratic Party, this is your moment, this is your opportunity. And lastly, you know what's gonna go down, right? I'm gonna tell you. I think there are some legal issues in Washington. And before we take back the White House, this guy Pence is gonna move to the White House. Temporarily. So we gotta start strategizing while they clean out Trump and the gang. We have to start building our constituency nationally. And we can do this. So let me just say, we are here today, but I don't think you know what just happened. George Washington just rolled his eyes. He just smiled because he knows our Constitution is strong. And in an imperfect democracy, we are still a democracy. And we stand here today and say, we are never ever going to relinquish our country to anybody but the people of our country. For your children, for my children, for the kids we're never going to meet. Let's take America back. It starts today. Thank you very much.
Are you fired up?
Ready to go.
So as we woke up this morning, we woke up to a horror show. In the dead of night, the GOP, at the bidding of their billionaire masters, have attempted to steal our democracy from right under our noses. Just this morning, Trump was a few miles away dining with his billionaire friends. And there were many, many of us there, as they are here, to let him know what a disgrace he is. He and his cronies were possibly plotting their next act in making the rich richer at the expense of the rest of us. But they will be the last ones laughing. The chaos and destruction tucked away in every crevice of the GOP's tax scam bill is an affront to our collective humanity. Another disastrous aspect of the GOP tax scam is the effect it will have on the Puerto Rican economy. If this scam were to proceed, Puerto Rico could lose 250,000 jobs, decimating an already fragile and weak economy to a point of no return. Trump clearly is making us, and I tweeted it this morning and I believe very strongly, Trump is clearly making us as a country, as the United States of America, laughingstock globally, and putting us in grave danger. But the GOP handling of this tax scam bill is not only an affront to democracy and our collective humanity, but Trump's incompetence by leaps and bounds. Today, I join the mayor, the Working Families Party, teachers, doctors, nurses, and all hardworking Americans to march here on Wall Street and send a clear message that we will not allow our hard-earned tax dollars to go to billionaires. We will not lose our health care or cut social service programs so the greedy can benefit, not on our watch. So Congress needs to do the right thing. Don't stand up for Donald Trump and his affluent friends and associates. Stand up for your constituents, the educators, the hospital employees, everyone who stands to lose if you support this tax scam. Here we are in front of the birthplace of democracy. And here we are in the shadows of the stock exchange. This is a true crossroads moment for us as a country. And we must commit ourselves to fight to preserve our humanity and what is right. The social service programs that would be decimated under this bill are ones that we cannot not allow to happen in our watch. So we must march on Washington, we must march on Wall Street, we must make those phone calls, we must do what we must do because this is a defining moment for us as a country. We have an ability to kill this bill, as has been indicated. We need to work hard to make that a reality. And as Scott indicated, yes, we have that fight at the national level, which we must engage in. But let's not neglect our backyard, where those who collude with the Republican Party in the state of New York are not allowing a progressive agenda which benefits the majority in this state to proceed. So let's get to work, everybody. I hope we can all roll up our sleeves. I'm in it for the long haul. I hope you are too. Let's get to work, everybody. Thank you.
You look beautiful here. I wish the stock exchange were filled with you instead of those it's filled with. And maybe it should be. This is not a tax bill. This is a declaration of war. That's what it is. It's a declaration of war on the poor, on people of color, on the elderly, on women, on everyone else who is vulnerable in our society. It is a stage in the imposition of fascism in our society. It is deeply connected to the vulgar, disgusting tweets that Trump puts out, to the Muslim ban, to the attacks on immigrants. This is part of a war, and we should treat it as a war, not just as a bill. This war, as Michael King said, attacks everyone. But since I'm a college teacher, and a lot of you I know are teachers and students, I just want to show you how cruel it is and how clever it is in attacking the chance that most Americans in this cruel and racist economy, the chance that most people would ever have to have a decent life is access to education. So this war, we're not calling it a bill anymore, this war takes special aim at higher education. This is what's sneaked into its crevices. Student loans will not anymore have a tax deduction. If you get a waiver for your tuition from your job or because you work in a school, that will now be taxed. And that means the next generation of scientists and economists who are now in graduate programs, their tuition will be taxed, and only the rich will be able to pursue higher education. That is not a little after effect, that is the plan. Okay, going on. College endowments will be taxed, and they are largely the source of scholarships. And guess which college was left out of that taxation? The college where Betsy DeVos went to school. Carved out. Fortunately, that was solved in the middle of the night, one decent thing, but it just shows you how deep they are penetrating. This is a war, and above all, it's a war on public higher education, because as state budgets are shredded, and states have to pay more for health care, they will have nothing left for college, and tuition on the poorest students will go up and up and up. And the design of this war is that the poor, that African Americans, that Latinos, that immigrants, that women will not have access to a decent life. So we've got to start acting like this is a war. And the good news is, there is still time. There is still time. It hasn't passed yet. And the majority of Americans oppose this bill. So let's get busy. I see women here with their beautiful pink hats. Every single woman who marched, the thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds, millions who marched on January 1st, get busy, and in every state, press your senators to vote against this wherever you are. Everyone who fought for gay marriage and marriage equality, get busy, because this is going to hurt you. And mobilize. And everyone on the left. We haven't had the movement to fight this, but it is not too late. Let this be the moment to form that movement. And labor unions should be leading the way. Labor unions, let's get back to our tactics of teaching each other, of downing tools and going into the streets and demanding and putting pressure on our bosses. We still have time to do that. And yes, that's exactly why the Trump administration is putting the screws through the Supreme Court on labor unions. Labor unions are the chance for working people to organize and build power against the fascist minority. So we've got to build that power. There is still time. So each of us don't just go home and it's great to send a text or a tweet, but we've got to organize. You've got to get your friends. You've got to get your institutions. We must fight back across the country, and I call especially on labor unions, lead this fight. If not now, organize labor. If not now, when?